Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Today, the family of Patrick Leoya braces for trial as a jury will soon decide if a former Grand Rapids police officer is guilty of second-degree murder.
And that does top our news this noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rhonda Walker.
I'm Jason Colthorpe. The trial for former Grand Rapids officer Christopher Schur is now underway. He's charged with second-degree murder in the death of 26-year-old Patrick Leoya. That was 3 years ago now.
And joining us from the newsroom is Jacqueline Francis with more as you've been listening into those opening statements this morning.
We got right into opening arguments this morning. The prosecutor calling it murder. He says Patrick Leoya did not have the intent, ability, or opportunity to kill Officer Christopher Schur. And because of that, he said Schur had no right to use lethal force, shooting Patrick in the back of the head. On the other side, the defense fought back, telling the jury this is a case of self-defense. They claim Schur was scared Patrick was going to get hold of his taser. They say the officer was protecting himself and the greater public. Let's take a quick listen, starting with prosecutor Chris Becker.
It was not justified. It was unreasonable. Patrick never had an intent to do any harm to the defendant. A police officer can't commit murder. They're no different than anybody else. They're no different than any citizen. They can commit murder, and that is what happened back in April of 2022.
The evidence will show that Officer Christopher Schur did everything he could to avoid using deadly force. When he lost all control, he was forced to make a split-second decision, one he hoped never to have to make. He didn't choose to take a life. He chose to save his own.
The jury is going to have a lot to consider in this case. The first witnesses also took the stand late this morning, starting with Patrick's close friend, followed by the passenger in Patrick's car that day. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you.
Friends and family trying to cope with their loss of a Detroit teen girl after her body was found over the weekend. London Thomas disappeared about a month ago after she was dropped off at her boyfriend's home in Inkster. Yesterday, investigators had the area of Sherman and Millard in Southfield taped off. That's where London's body was found. Over the weekend on Saturday, her friends were stunned to hear the tragic news, saying she had a bright future.
She was like always at my house. I went to Beach Elementary with her and Hilbert Middle School. It's not far from here.
She didn't deserve this. These young girls out here, they don't deserve everything that's happening to them. You know, they have so much ahead of them. She was so smart. You know what I mean? She was so hardworking. You know, she always had a job.
There is still more answers to get when it comes to this investigation. Police obviously not saying who they have taken into custody by name until they are arraigned.
Drivers, make sure that you keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and off of your phone. Starting today, police will have a closer eye on you if you get tempted to grab that phone while behind the wheel. It's called Operation Ghost Rider, and police will be in unmarked vehicles across the state looking for drivers breaking Michigan's hands-free law, the law that bans touching devices while driving behind the wheel, even if your phone is mounted to the dash or part of your car's sync system. When the Ghost Riders spot a distracted driver, they will then radio to an officer in a marked car to pull you over. If you do get caught, you could face a fine starting at $100, community service, or driving courses. Farmington Hills is dealing with a serious deer overpopulation problem.
Indeed it is. Priya Mann with details on a special meeting that's happening later tonight with updates on the progress that city leaders have made thus far.
The growing deer population has been an issue here in Farmington Hills for years, and tonight we might finally be getting some answers and some possible solutions. Take a look at what it was like last month at Farmington Hills City Hall, where it was standing room only. Residents listened intently to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources as they consider ways to curb the growing deer population. The DNR now ranks Oakland County second for deer collisions. Meanwhile, the total number of hunters has decreased by 32% since 1995. 2025. One proposal would be to perform annual culls with sharpshooters and allow hunters to help with the harvest. Those culls would be performed at night using thermals. The draft resolution also proposes temporarily suspending firearm ordinances during those times. We'll hear what residents had to say at the last meeting, but let's start with a deer biologist from the DNR.
We've been trying all these different avenues to try and get it under control, and nothing is seeming to work. So we've added new seasons, we've extended seasons, we've tried different hunter recruitment programs, and it's just none of it's really having an impact. So we're kind of running out of options.
People of Farmington Hills are getting a little upset because 10 years is a long time. In 10 years, the deer herd went from 340 to 1,500 plus at this point. That's a little bit much.
And that meeting is happening tonight here at the Hawk Community Center on 12 Mile Road. It's important to note that that meeting will not have public comment, but there will be an opportunity to hear what decision is made. That meeting happening at 6 p.m. In Farmington Hills, I'm Priya Mann. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Priya. Let's take an opportunity now to check the forecast as we hit the noon hour.
It's a beautiful day so far. Absolutely gorgeous. And this really will probably be the pick day of the week because we're looking at sunshine and 70s. And even though we're warmer tomorrow, it comes with some turbulent weather on your Tuesday. So 65 degrees in the city, 68 in Ann Arbor, 65 in Pontiac, and 66 in Monroe. We have a southerly wind sustained, averaging out close to about 10 miles per hour, gusting a little stronger than that, but it's pumping in the warmth at this hour. So your 24-hour temperature change anywhere from 6 to 12 degrees warmer across southeastern Michigan. So if you thought yesterday was nice, well, today even better. Hourly forecast for today, holding on to that sunshine as we do rise into the 70s throughout the afternoon. And we'll still be looking at mostly clear conditions in the later part of the evening, but clouds increase late tonight, and that's ahead of our next weather maker. So we'll go ahead and zoom out to show you what I'm talking about here. Several lightning strikes pushing into Wisconsin, up towards portions of Canada. That's that stronger low pressure system with a cold front that'll eventually work its way across the region and bring us our chance for some strong storms, especially come tomorrow afternoon and evening. We rise to close to 83. If we hit 83, we tie the record high for that date and then tumble 20 degrees heading into your Wednesday as we dry things out. We're going to give you an hour-by-hour timeline in just a few minutes.